Howdy. Camera's set up here. All right, there we go. I think that's the way we had it, kind of, sort of. Then I had to use it for something else the other day. I got this little. How's everybody doing? Morning. I got a new little backing track here. I was going to play it a little bit and see how it translates. I don't know why. What's that? Oh, looks like it. Oh, but hopefully it'll pick up. So how's it going? I see that chat. I see that Richard had to go out for a couple drinks. I would do the same thing. Cool. All right. So again, another day, another Saturday, just kind of chilling out. Meh. Yeah. Yeah, I was a little bit late, but I got I was looking at the wrong clock, but then I was like, oh, there's the thing. No beer this week. I didn't have time to go out and get anything. But I just have a coffee. Still a Christmas mug. I got a seltzer here too. So I got this new little plugin the other day. It was kind of cool. It was a free um, offer from Abbott, I think. I think I can, and I think I can show it on the stream. And it's a plugin for to duplicate the basement amplifier. So it looks like this. Bring it up here. Kind of cool. So you set it for, you know, I just put it in the same settings here, what I would use. And so this is just a plugin for my Pro Tools setup. So I have this and I can just have this plug the guitar direct, which is, you know, how I play on the stream anyway. And you can just, this one is supposed to mimic the Fender Bassman, the blonde, but it has a bunch of different settings on it. If you go to the effects rack, you can make all these little changes and whatever. And, you know, that's it. I have this other plugin. For tape echo. I don't know where I got this. It came with a bundle or something. I've tried a couple different ones. I know they make like a Roland Space Echo kind of mimic plugin or whatever, but I don't have that one. But it's fine for this. I mean, I don't actually use plugins for real recording if I'm recording the band or anything like that. I'll use it for demos for this for the stream here, but even the videos, everything is reamped through the actual Bassmans for the actual videos. It just sounds better. The thing about those the amp modelers, even the ones that you play live, where you can have them in the in the box, in like a pedal board, and you can switch with different amps, different effects, or whatever, and you just plug it into a powered speaker. It's great, but what it is, at least for what I've noticed, is that they mod the guitar. It sounds like the amplifier, but it sounds like what the amplifier is recorded. So it's after it's been EQ'd, compressed, affected. Everything is. It sounds like what a mic captures, not what the actual amp sounds like to your own ears live. And you know the difference, maybe out in the PA, maybe to the audience, if you're trying to sound like the record or whatever, works for a lot of stuff. But you lose that organic feeling of being right up front in a real amplifier right by your ears in a live show, particularly, and even on recording, you're kind of stuck with, it sounds great, but it is what it is, and that's it. Where if you have your own amplifier, yeah, at first it can be frustrating because it's not, it's if you don't really know how to EQ and compress a sound, it can be a little dry. It doesn't have a lot of the sustain. It sounds weak almost. But if you play around with it, you can have much more control and much more versatility with an actual amplifier than you can with a mod. Yeah, it's not quite perfected yet, but I mean, I don't really know what they would, even if they did perfect it. I don't, maybe one day they'll eventually figure something out, but I think at the moment, for the foreseeable future, there's not really a way to um Hi Richard. Welcome. Um yeah, there's not really a way to still duplicate that real feeling of being there and having that amplifier right in your ears, or playing it and having it right behind you. Even if you put a PA speaker behind you, it's not quite the same. It's too perfect, I guess, is more of the complaint that I would have. See if I can fix something. Another little light. This room has always been tough to light. It's always difficult to get enough lighting in here, even when I make the videos. So how you doing? Hope everybody's good. So it's around like 8, 9, 9 over there in Cambridge. Let's see. And I worked on that little, I had put those 2 backing tracks up there. So I got that blues one there now. That's just just what you were listening to earlier. Just a shuffle swing kind of in 130 BPM key of E, simple stuff. You can play like Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff or whatever. And blues, just a 145. It's just always good to kind of play around and mess around with different things. $2,200. That is, why am I blanking on that? 10 o'clock? Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I used to know Scuttle Button, but I can't remember. Yeah, 10. Okay, 10. I was right. I knew you just subtract like two numbers down, and I used to use it all the time at a job I had. Always had military time, but or 9 p.m. where you are. Yeah. Okay. 9:15. Yeah. Um. Yeah, week's been okay. Worked on. We talked about last week. The new song. So I got that. I'll have that queued up here in a little bit, and we can listen to that. And we'll do that a little bit. We'll do that in a little bit. It's not completely finished, but it's close enough. Like I said, I'd have a rough mix, so it kind of gives me an incentive to get this album done and try to have a new original tune mixed and ready to go, at least roughly. There's only a couple tracks that have to be added, which we recorded earlier in the week, but I haven't had a chance to go back and add them in. It's just some backup vocal stuff. Nothing crazy. Doesn't change the song too much, but for the most part, it's pretty much there. I think with the mix and what it's going to sound like in the end. What's on the pedal board? The one behind me? Where is it? Can you see it? That way. There you go. For me, it is I got a Polytune, one of the Polytune pedals for tuning. And then I've got, goes through a Mystery Brain, the Nocturne Mystery Brain delay pedal, a Spring King, Dan Electro Spring King reverb, and then the TU Three. TR2, the tremolo, Boss tremolo. That's pretty much it. I used to have volume pedals and I had a Vans amp spring Verb, which is really great. I still have it, but I took it off the board because it operated at a different voltage. It was 12 volt instead of 9. So sometimes in some rooms it would cause a buzz through the amplifier. So I said, well, I'll just use it for recordings and and uh, and that sort of thing. But that the Vance amp one sounds the closest to I think like an old spring tank, like an old Fender. I pretty much just use the pedals. The last gig I played, I think mentioned last week. I used the Space Echo, the tape delay, which is behind me, but it's just turned around. It's back. The, got its back facing us. Yeah, I used the 301, the Space Echo 301 last Friday, and I didn't use any pedals with that. That when I use that thing, it's just that, but there's reverb built into it, so I use reverb through that. Sometimes the chorus, and that's pretty much what I use even on the pedal board. It's just it's just all separated out. I used to use um, I used to never use reverb. It would always be just the Dan Electro Real Echo years ago. And then I found that to be, it worked, but I always had to really push the amplifier to get it to saturate nicely because it's really dry sounding. Um, then when I switched later to the Roland RE201, the RE20 pedal, that had reverb built into it because it's built off the old Space Echo, but it it doesn't have the preamp like I say that the 301 has that they put in the Mystery Brain pedal. So I eventually got the Mystery Brain, but then I was like, okay, well now I don't have reverb anymore, so I got to get some sort of reverb. And I liked Spring Verb because we play a lot of surf rock stuff, so to have that sound when you're doing the, you know, can't even, all that. Yeah. Yeah, definitely less is more. I mean, I sing too, so for me trying to sing and play and then have to worry about pedals on the floor, and a lot of the places we play, we don't really play up on a stage, you're just playing on the floor. So you're at the same level as everyone else, which is fine, but when people start dancing and they have too many drinks, they'll somebody will twirl somebody into your mic stand or right on your pedal board. A couple of people have fallen on my my board. Somebody I remember they had too many drinks and they just stood up and they just went down. Just I think they fell on their back. They fell backwards, and somebody else tried to catch them, and they were okay. They were fine, but they kind of fell over my pedal board and everything. And you're playing, you don't really see it too much, but it's hard to catch somebody. You got the guitar wrapped around or whatever, but it's um they'll trip over monitors or whatever. Do the best you can to keep all the cables away. I'm pretty good about that, but people get rambunctious after when it gets a little later in the evening. But yeah, sometimes less is more. I mean, you start getting too much, and then you have too many um, patch cables, and all of a sudden there's a crackle or something, and it's like, okay, now where is it? And you got to go through each cable and rotate them a little bit and see which one's this and where's the crackling and where it's coming from, and then replace the cable or whatever. And if you play outside in Rhode Island, it's very um, um, we're ocean state, so a lot of salt water, and yeah, electronics don't really like that too much. So it can be constantly cleaning your stuff. You play on the I don't like playing on the beach for that reason. Sand just gets in everything, especially you get the F holes. It gets in the. Uh, and the drums, and it's just it can be a mess. But for the upright bass, so yeah, the nice thing about having that space echo, the tape delay, is that I don't have to have the pedal board in front of me, except for maybe a tremolo, which I haven't used yet with they get salty. the I haven't used the tremolo with the space echo yet, but I probably will soon. I guess I would run that first. I guess I would go tremolo, then to the space echo, and then to the amplifier. I guess. But then you're getting that tremolo sound against on the tape. I mean, I don't know if it really matters too much. Um, Probably not, because I'm trying to think if there was another way. I don't always run it in stereo. Last time I had the double bassman, so I ran it in stereo, but it's not really necessary to do that because all it does is just it sounds good if you got it set up just right and the amplifiers are spaced properly and you're sitting in the right spot. But and it's great for recording because you can get the one amplifier will be dry completely and the other one will be the delay. So it'll be like dup, 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 and so it sounds like it's moving in stereo if you're sitting in the right spot. On the recording it's great because then you can have the guitar kind of panned in the middle, sort of off to one side, and the delay kind of sounding like it's going off into the right or left or whatever way you want to mix it. The but when you don't run that, if you did that, then you'd have to do all your pedals first before you went into the space echo. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to go out stereo, or you'd have to use an AB switch, and then that's no, again. I try to every time if I can figure out a way to eliminate a piece of gear setting up, I will because it's just one less problem, one less thing to go wrong, um, one less shorter to set up, shorter to break down. Um, so that's always my goal. We have a pretty simple setup. It's just we don't. I amplify the kick drum. I run the DA of the DI for the bass for the upright, so that at least they can hear that through the monitor. So the drummer can hear the bass and the kick through the monitor. Sometimes I'll mic the guitar. Depends on the room. Um, if the club wants us to keep it down, keep it a little on the quieter side, then I'll mic it so we can hear everything. Because the one thing about the Bassman amplifiers, well, I don't have it up here. It's actually um, they're closed back, so that's great for Gretches because Gretches are hollow body, and they're the round tone, the round sound of a hollow body. When you push it through a closed back cab, gets compressed and then pushes the whole sound out. It's a tighter sound. Where if you put it through an open back amplifier, it's a little bit, it's more open. The sound's gonna go out. The downside with a closed back amplifier is that a lot of the times people will put their amplifiers in front of the drummer and then the drummer can't hear you. So you're kind of you're stuck, right? You're you have to mic it so they can hear you, or the rest of the band even. And so that has been an issue for me playing with different players. So what I'll usually do is I'll push the bass amplifier just slightly behind the drummer and maybe angle it a little bit so he can hear it if I'm not going to mic it. But yeah, if I can keep it simple, I always will. Um, but again, if they want to keep it down, I will just have I'll just mic it and just bleed a little bit and then put everything, mix it just a little bit through the PA speakers. And that can add a nice it can be well it's nice and balanced that way for sure. Because if you're just coming through your amplifier, if you're standing in a different spot of the room, the guitar might disappear, or whatever. So, and I just take one of those, what are they, 601 or 608, the Sennheiser, the flat square ones, and just hang it over the amplifier. Just wrap it around and let it hang. I have a little short stand for the kick drum mic, but that's that. Yeah. Working? That's kind of the groove of the new tune. A 1/40th. Um, I mean, this is a hot rod. Yeah, the Gretches I got. This is well, it's old now. This is a 99. None of them are vintage. I don't have any vintage stuff, but I used to have a 74 Tennessean, but ended up selling that. This is the pre-fender, the orange one's pre-fender, then no, it's not an anniversary. I don't have any of those. Phoenix, Black Phoenix. Can't remember the model name of the jazz box. It's an Electromatic. This used to be the one with a cat eye, but it's not. It's got the F-holes on it. And then one of these White Falcon acoustic ranchers. Yeah, that's it. I was pretty much Gretsch. One Tele, one Strat Squire with Stevie Ray Vaughan pickups in it, and a couple of cheap basses for recording, and that's pretty much it. And of course the doghouse back there. Just need to learn to play drums, and I can make my whole album. I mean, for the videos, I always use a drum machine, but yeah. Gigs this week? No, not this week. Next, little bit of a break. Then we have 3. I might have a third gig on next Saturday, but I'm not sure yet. It hasn't been confirmed. But definitely Thursday and Friday. Yeah. Friday is at Narragansett Brewery in Providence. So it's that should be fun. I've never played there before. And then we're playing another place called Narragansett Cafe, but not in Narragansett. It's in a place, Jamestown, which is a little island peninsula between Newport and the mainland. Those are pretty fun shows. And then after that, it's pretty consistent until probably October, and then it starts to slow down a bit. I did sort of record a gig for the channel. I tried. I'm a little apprehensive about it, and the only reason why is for the copyright issues. I did it once, and it's on there. It's I think it's just called the TeleDynes Live, maybe at the place, like live at Galactic Theater, which is where we were. And it's cut up a little bit because it got flagged, not for anything we played, but because of the music that was played through the PA system before we were being played. Those were recordings, right? So they they got it didn't get a copyright strike or anything, but all it did was just say you this is partially blocked in certain regions or whatever. So it makes me a little nervous. I mean, I know that mostly YouTube licensing takes care of the bulk of that, so I don't think I have much to worry about. But um, I just got to avoid the Cars, the Eagles, Garth Brooks, and Bryan Adams, and I think I'll be okay. Nice. What's the name of the band? Yeah. Yeah, the Eagles. I don't know if it's actually them. Like, what's his name? Oh man, I just had it. Um, Dalton Four. Cool. Do you guys have any like things on Spotify? I'll check you out. Um, yeah, I don't know if it's actually them. I know the Cars. I think they are, but I was surprised to hear that the other one is Bryan Adams. Like, okay. Funny enough, there's actually a video on YouTube of Bryan Adams and the Brian Setzer Orchestra playing together. They were doing Rumble in Brighton, I think. Don Henley. Yeah, that's it. Nice. It seems like a lot of people like everywhere but America. That's not really fair. Um, um, there's plenty of people in America who like rockabilly. It just doesn't get promoted in any major way, um, except for individual artists and of course the festivals and the people that keep it going, which is great, you know. So I try to do my part as much as I can to keep it alive and spread the music out there. Nice. Only on YouTube? Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, Spotify's not really that big a deal. I mean, we released ours on Spotify. If you have a full, you can do that through CD Baby or one of those. What's the other one? Um, Disco Kid or something. I've never used that one, but I've only used CD Baby, and they just put it everywhere. But you know, unless you can get it, you're not. It's not like you're going to make any money off of that anyway. So YouTube's probably your better bet. I think that's what I'm going to do for the next CD as we start releasing songs. Um, I think I'll release a song. Try to get a song out a week, at least for the ones we have recorded on the channel. And then once they're done on YouTube, and we have all the songs individually released, then I'll go ahead and make a full album, still release it on YouTube, and eventually put it on, yeah, Bandcamp, Spotify, whatever, Apple Music. I mean, Amazon, Pandora. That it's endless. The nice thing about the CD Baby is that you pay one thing and then they just put it everywhere, and you don't have to go through every individual um, service yourself. And I guess Apple's probably the hardest one to get it up there, but they also, I supposedly, pay the best, other than YouTube. You know, although YouTube is based on your views, but I think Spotify now, unless you're getting at minimum 1,000 streams, they're not even going to start looking at it. SoundCloud, yeah, we're on SoundCloud too. We're on all of those. Um, Again, that was all done through the CD Baby thing. They just did it all. So. They do still sell CDs. You can still get them made, but they don't. Um, Actually, no. I'm sorry. CD Baby doesn't carry CDs anymore. Um, they, I recently, unless you were selling X amount which of course we weren't. So they're just gonna, they said, here, either pay us to ship it back to you, or we're just gonna toss it. And I said, I don't care, just one disc. It didn't really matter to me. So, but you can still buy them. I think people buy vinyl a little bit more often than CDs now. Yeah, bring it on. Yeah, put it on vinyl. Exactly. I mean, I think it's a little bit more expensive, but I don't know. For me, if I would go see a band and somebody has a vinyl record, I would be more inclined to buy the vinyl record than to buy the CD itself. So I probably won't make a physical disc of the next album unless it's a vinyl recording. But might do that, might not. Not sure. Depending on cost and all of that. We still have we're trying to hit at least 14 songs for the next recording. We got about half of that done. And then we're going to move on to hopefully get in the studio within the next month or so and finish the rest of them. Got most of it written. It's taken a little longer than we thought. You know, life gets in the way and whatever. But yeah. Then I got to think of a name for the album. And I've typically always named it off of one of the tunes. I'm not, or whatever. The last album was just self-titled, so it was just called The TeleDynes, and then The TeleDynes 2. No, I don't want to do that, but yeah, that'll be my next project starting soon. And then artwork and all of that. And look, I mean, digitally, I mean, you still have to do artwork. You just don't have to do the whole um, back front inserts and all of that stuff. They also do, let's see if I have it here. Oh, yeah. This is a buddy of mine. They do these things where he doesn't have it on here. This is just it's just a paper, just like a postcard. And you just go on to the website and download there's like a little code, or sometimes they'll put a QR code on these things and then you can just download the album that way. 50 million. Yeah, right. I wish, huh? There's not even that many Elvis fans, I think. Or is it 50 million? Is that the number? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if I can do it, I will. I I think the smallest amount you can buy is 500, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so I'll do that, and then of course I'll sell it through through my through the channel or the website or wherever I can do. I haven't set the shop up yet, but the only thing we've got now we've got buttons, T-shirts, um, CDs of our old recording, stickers, that sort of stuff, but nothing crazy. The Patreon has a few more things like mugs and tote bags or something like that, but that's them doing it. So I guess if you sign up and you're subscribed for X amount of however much it costs to buy the merch, then your merch they'll ship the merch. So a couple people that are subscribed to that I got a notification a little while ago. Oh, one of your members are eligible for merch and it'll be shipped out soon. So I assume they got it. So yeah, I haven't been able. I've tried to reach out to some people. Sometimes people get back, sometimes they don't. But So another news, I got the I'll probably have 2 videos coming out this week. One will be Honey Don't. Well, one will be of the first thing is going to be is I mentioned it on last stream, this Xtuga uh, wireless guitar system. And just doing a little they sent it to me, they asked me to review it, and I made a little video on it. So, and it's just me kind of showing the specs of it, and I do a little demo where I play I go back and forth between the electric guitar and the bass, the upright, so you can hear what it sounds like. I mean, I think it sounds pretty good for wireless, and I used it on a live show. It didn't disappoint. I had it on the whole time. Didn't I didn't get any delay or lag or anything cut out. Or I didn't lose any touch sensitivity or attack or presence or anything. So I you know, it was pretty decent. And so I got that video coming out, and then right afterwards I have Honey Don't coming out on just a lesson for that. And it was one of those weird ones. I thought I knew that song pretty well, but I go back and I listen to it like, oh, that's different. Listen, basing it on the Carl Perkins version. I always used to think that the Beatles and the Carl Perkins version were the same, but they are not. They are different. Obviously the feel is different because they're different people, but um, the structure is a little bit different at the end. That's a slight thing, but it's just something I never really noticed before. A 78, wow, that's awesome. I didn't even know they still made those things. Nice, Honey Don't, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's got those extra. I thought it was like an extra 2 measures that are being pumped. You get the. Then it goes to the 4. But it's actually proper form. The whole verse is 12 bars, and then the chorus is 12 bars. And then at the end of it, though, he does add this little 2/4 measure or 6/4, depending on what how you want to think of it. And it that's kind of weird. You can hear him kind of like he's pushing the band and like the band's kind of following him in the direction that he wants to go in. Because the Beatles version cuts that, they just do a standard 12 bar at the end, and you can even hear Ringo kind of like rushing the lyrics to keep up on that recording. So I thought that was just analyzing the difference between the two. But the video is going to be based on the Carl Perkins version for the most part. Guitar wise, it's pretty much the same except for the solo. It's the solo, I think, on the Beatles, where the Carl Perkins version is a little more just kind of bouncing back and forth like that, and then it goes. Yeah, it's at the end. It's that strange little extra 2/4 bar that he throws in there. Well, honey, don't, and it's like a little, like it's started almost like half a measure starting over. It's like a 2/4 bar, a 6/4 bar or something, if you were to count it out. So I typically play it live. I don't do that. I just stick with the standard 12 bar. But so I guess structure wise, I always ended up basing it off of the Beatles. But I always play the the solo. I kind of end up making up my own based around the two, you know, versions and just kind of throwing it all together. I don't really have a um, specific way of doing it. But when I do the videos, I want to try my best to get that to get it as you know as accurate as possible for that sake. Mm. Yeah, yeah, it's funky. It's kind of weird. It was just the way they played it, you know, and probably just Carl playing it the way he wants to play it and feel it. And I've played with guys like that that just want to add their own kind of extra feel to it. That's just the way they're feeling it. And so the band, if you're the backup band, you just follow them if they're the singer. Um, that's what I've encountered anyway. Just it like all this stuff is just yeah. It playing live is different altogether. You try to get as accurate as you possibly can, and then you're in the moment and you go and you just you all of it goes out the window immediately. That with the devil? No, I'm not familiar with it. Sounds like a song I would like though. I know Hillbilly. Is it Hillbilly Casino? Is that who did it? Trying to look at say I like if somebody requests a song or mentions a song, I want to look it up and add it to my list so I can listen to it later. There it is. There we go. Added. I will listen to it later. I still haven't had a chance to listen to some of this stuff, but like I said, this week has been pretty much just focusing on the new recordings and getting it mixed. And I want to say Sunday, just mixing because I do all the mixing and mastering for everything for the most part, and it's mastering's relatively easy. I've sent it off to people to do it before, and then I've done it, and it's just like, you know, my version sounds the same or just as well as you know the other. I haven't I've played a show with those guys at Hillbilly Casino at Viva East in Massachusetts. That was a couple years ago, but I don't know if they had that song out at the time. Maybe I don't know. It doesn't say release date, but 2015. Yeah, they would have had that out already because I this was 20 probably 2017, maybe 18. Yeah, so that was cool. Yeah, unfortunately they haven't done the it's like the Viva, you know, Viva Las Vegas in Vegas. They had an East Coast version of it for a while, and since 2020 we haven't really they haven't really done it again. They did it once after that, and then haven't really. They've been talking about doing it again, but I haven't heard anything. Supposed to do it last year, that didn't happen. Maybe this year. It usually happens around July, August, something like that. We'll see what happens. Um, but cool, yeah, I'll check it out. The yeah, mixing the album. I was trying to mix the mixing the drums and mixing the bass is relatively easy. I get a pretty good sound with a 3 mic setup, direct, one for the click, one for the like the room, the body of the bass. That works pretty well. Drums, I try to mic as much as I possibly can because as much, kick, snare, double snare, mic, top, bottom, hi-hat, crash, ride, just because, and then also try to grab little bits of it because drums can be weird if something doesn't get mic'd completely right, you can end up with too much hi-hat and not enough snare, and then it can sound messy and or or just things get buried. And I do want my goal for the sound is I want it to sound as somewhat modern. I want it to sound like it's recorded today, but I don't want it to sound like it's I want to add effects to it or anything, but as if you would record it, with modern gear, basically. And as far as the guitar miking goes, that's pretty that's pretty easy. Let's see if I just put a um basically 57s and a KSM for a room mic, and that's it. I record at a small studio, kind of do multiple places. So if there's overdubs, we'll do that. I can do that here. I just do it at my home. Um, so reamping the guitar, I'll do that at home. Vocals, there's a small studio I go to in not too far from me in Johnston. Actually, it's my buddy's bass player studio called Mobile Mic Studios, and it's it's basically a trailer, but it's been converted and soundproofed to a small studio, enough to record vocals, some guitar tracks, acoustic guitar, stuff like that. Um, Nice, good noise floor ratio, so you can get a really good quality vocal sound. And then for the drums and bass, we can also record there at the mobile mic. Then another place called Newcastle Studios in Barrington, Rhode Island, and we try to capture as much as we can live. And then I'll have the direct signal also run when I'm recording at the studio with the drums, along with the amplifier mic, because the problem is the amplifier is in the same room as everything else. Well, the drums are in their own isolated drum booth. Um, the drum booth is its own thing, but I'll keep the amplifier in that same room so we can all hear it, and we mic it so they can hear the tone of the amplifier, not just the direct. But um, yeah, the room mics, they're great for ambience and stuff, but to actually use it, it adds a lot of natural sounding reverb. Um, so I like to use them for that. Uh, for the drums, overhead stuff. Sounds. What was I saying? Yeah, the over the so I'll have that extra direct guitar in the studio as well. That way I can take that direct back and then reamp it through my setup, and but it'll still be the performance that I had in the studio, kind of thing. The bass and the bass is fairly isolated, and that'll depend on whatever. Just because studio time is money. If we book like a chunk of time, go in, we get what we get. If the takes of the drums are great and they're good and it's solid, then we'll work on it for overdubs and that sort of thing. If not, then we will just mark it and go back and re-record that for the next session. And that's pretty much how I do it. I try to be as efficient as possible with studio time and try to figure out, what's the best usage of our time. Time is money. Yeah. All right. Well, we're in about an hour. I guess you want to play the song? Let's play the song. Okay. We'll go ahead and get the song started. Just got to find it. Oh, I remember where I put it. Okay. All right. Let me know if it's too loud or anything. I can always restart it. Okay, so this is a new one. It's called Taking Chances. Here we go.
I tried so long, can't seem to get you off my mind. And since you've gone, maybe I'll take it as a sign. I got an intercept on a line, only my baby keep me satisfied. I keep on telling all those lies to take you for a ride. Why keep on taking chances you can't justify? I keep on stealing glances with my evil eye. If you keep taking chances, can you satisfy? You look at me, you'll find that I won't make a sound. I tried to see, feels like that I've been trouble bound. I got an intercept on a line, only my baby keep me satisfied. I keep on telling all those lies to take you for a ride. Why keep on taking chances you can't justify? I keep on stealing glances with my evil eye. If you keep taking chances, can you satisfy? choice. It feels like I've been driving blind. Why keep on taking chances you can't justify? I keep on stealing glances with my evil eye. Why keep on taking chances you can't justify? I keep on stealing glances with my evil eye. If you keep taking chances, can you satisfy? Can you satisfy? Can you satisfy?
All right, there we go. Thanks. Lively sound. Yeah. I guess that's yeah, that's fair. Okay, I see what you mean now. Yeah, that's always kind of what I'm going for then, kind of an energetic, lively sound. I get edgy maybe a little bit. Um, just tone wise. Yeah, I had the pre-delay and the um and a bunch of different compressors and New York style compression and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Guess you guys ain't ready for that yet. Your kids are gonna love it. um, yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of at the moment the most rockabilly sounding track on the recording. I think the next one, the next track will be probably trying to think which one is closest to being ready. Uh, yeah, probably there's a tune I have called Sinner Man, and it's a yeah, that one's not quite ready yet. I still have to mix it because now that I have the basic template for everything, basic EQs on everything was recorded in the same day, so within like 4 hour period or whatever, and I can just kind of pop everything in to the template and get it rough mixed, and then just adjust compressors and little things here and there depending on. I don't think he changed snares or anything. I think it was pretty much the same thing throughout, and I didn't change guitars really. So then it's just mixing, really just kind of getting the vocals in there. And um it's nice being able to play it on the stream and get feedback from you guys. That way I can, if down the road if anything's glaring or whatever, we can fix it before before I officially release it, you know. Um so that, yeah, that was my that I kind of wrote that with the idea of that being the opening track for the album. Yes, I did use the hot rod. Um, and that was the double Bassman's 63 64 with the Roland Space Echo running stereo, was a Sennheiser on one side and a 57 for the delay mic, and then a KSM 44 for the room of the amplifiers. And yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, I like that little, just little edge to it. Just pushes a little bit, you know, just enough. Um, yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer. To probably get the next one. Then it's just a matter of, like I said, recording the rest of the songs we have written and get it all done with once I now that I have this doing this one was the biggest hurdle because it was just uh it just going through and getting okay how EQing the snare, making sure that everything's in phase, and the um the overheads and the bleed of whatever's coming through and panning it, make sure things get out of the way. That's another trick that you have to make sure if you're running things in stereo, then you have to make sure that if something is whatever the focus is needs to be in the center and things need to get out of the way. The electric guitar, the bass, the drum, the bass can be in the center, but the kick in the center, but everything else could kind of be out. The snare you could put in the center too, but I like to kind of pan it out. A lot of aux buses and I forget how many tracks are in that thing but it's it's fun to experiment with that stuff. Dan Electro Real Echo, yeah, I used to use one of those. I still have the box, but I don't have the pedal anymore. I forget what happened to it. I think I lent it to someone and they never returned it. But I moved on to another pedal. Didn't really matter. Um, but yeah, I used to like that pedal because you could run it in stereo, and I used to run with the Bassman. I used to run the delayed signal into the normal channel, and then I'd run the dry signal into the bass channel and have both channels going at the same time, and that kind of pushed it a bit more, um, which was kind of cool. It gave it a little bit more saturation, but it ran the tubes down real fast, so I don't do that anymore. And with the Roland Space Echo, don't need to. That thing has such a the preamp on that thing is so, and the same with the Mystery Brain. It's great. But the Space Echo, the actual one, it's the preamp on that thing. I mean, I have that clicked down by 15 decibels for the input signal or the output signal, I think, and it sounds like a Marshall if you click that thing down all the way. Are the lyric there's two tracks. There's going to be two tracks that are instrumental, but they plan that way. So, um, one is a kind of a slow surf rock, um, instrumental, a lot of reverb, delay, more atmospheric, um, in nature, and the other one is a cover. It's I think I mentioned it a couple streams ago. The Tico Tico. Um, like that. And that's going to have that kind of somewhat of a salsa feel to it with the upright, kind of thing going on. Kind of cool. Yeah, that's a pretty fun tune. I don't really use an overdrive. If I do, occasionally I'll use a TS9 tube screamer, but I don't really need to with the Bassman. Um, if I want a little more overdrive, just turn it up to 8. Um, and that's enough. Or like I said, with the Space Echo, just click that output on the decibel level output. Right now, it's cut down to the lowest one. Or just or with the Mystery Brain, I can crank the preamp a little bit more, and that kind of saturates. It's not really an overdrive, but it saturates it enough. Enough to do that. You can't. I mean, I don't think it too. Yeah, I was gonna say 11, but it goes to 11. It's funny. There is an amplifier. I forget the name of it. More for gypsy jazz, but it does go to 11. Very, Henriksen. I always get that confused with the gin. Yeah, I've tried blues drivers and stuff like that before, and I didn't like the blues driver one. I don't know, something about it just didn't too boxy sounding. Maybe it's been a while, but I ended up selling that. The Tube Screamer works okay, but it's hard to get it set right for me. I don't know. Either it's too quiet because it actually quiets everything down because it's compressing everything a little bit, or it you crank it up and then everything feeds back. Um, Not so much with this guitar. The orange one, the 6120, that one is very sensitive. It's got a it feeds back a lot faster, even though it's not nearly as loud. The pickups don't have the output that this one has, but it does feed back fairly easily, and it's not a pleasant feedback either. It's a squeal. It's very annoying, and I try to be careful. I don't really play that one live too much anymore. Um, the fret it needs a refret. The frets are pretty low on it, so you end up having to work a little bit harder than you should, and I'm not getting that sustain that I used to get out of it. The Phoenix is probably the best playing and sounding one out of the bunch. Although I really like playing this one because I like the slightly shorter scale. Um, which one? This one. Um, um, I haven't played the Smoke one. No. Yeah, maybe. That'll probably be my next one. Either that or a Duo Jet, like I was saying. But we'll see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, I still like the way it feels and like the way it plays. It just doesn't. Yeah, yeah. That's it. Looks great. I know it sounds great. I know it's a. Uh, you said the bridge was locked down. I think yeah. So This one was not. This one still had the same old floating bridge. This one's locked down. Phoenix was locked down. I think since Fender's taken over, I don't know how many they keep floating. I but like they used to. Cool. See if they have anything. Yeah. Hmm. Trying to see if I had anything else. No, that's it. Yeah, they did. Way better. The this yeah, the pre-Fender stuff, I don't recommend it. Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah, with the some of the signature models, I would imagine they probably, especially Eddie Cochran, that's how they made him back then. They would um keep him floating. They did, huh? Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Well, that explains it. I mean, not that they were horrible, but just in general, um, the ones made after Fender were are so much better. Yeah, I'm doing a little bunch of research now. I haven't. I'm not doing Gretsch research, but it's just research on the Fender Bassman video. So still trying to go through that and figure out where to go with it. Um, hitting the hitting the different notes on different um, or click blast again. Okay. Let's see. Let me see what I got here. Hmm. I know what I can do. Let me see if I have it. I might have. I might have not the actual version. Is a it's not the actual version, but it's just the demo version that I made up. And I think it sounds pretty good. So we could listen to that if I can find it. Oh, you know where it might be? It might be here. I think I can find it. Hmm. What's this? That's not it either. Oh, vocal is muted. I'm sorry. So that's kind of the feel of that like a slow surf, boom boom pop pop boom pop pop boom, and then so kind of hard to get the idea of it without the drums going, but like I said, what I can do is I do have a demo here of one of the songs that it's going to be on the new CD or new album, and it is just it's not the full, not exactly what it's going to sound like, but it's close enough. I think it sounds pretty good for a demo, and you can hear this is kind of what I make up and I send to the guys for them to kind of learn, and then we go and play it live or play in the studio or whatever. So this one is called Cattle Kate, and it's a kind of a spaghetti western type of feel to it and sound. So let's take a listen.
She stood out from the rest.
Cool. Haven't heard that in a while. Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun one to write and record. It's always fun to play it live. Of course, you could hear a lot of overdubs on there. So I end up having to just play it like this. That's always a fun fun thing to play. Write a song just so I can play that. Sounds pretty good. That amp modeler sounds pretty good. Yeah, that one's got a little ways to go on the recording. Thank you. Still got to did the vocals. I got to do some backup stuff, and then there's a bunch of guitar overdub things I got to add in and whatever. And then of course I got to mix it. But probably the next one will be a Sinnerman type. That's I think of the feel of that one. It kind of has more of it's like a lot of floor tom. You know. So, and then there's a riff to it. It goes. Rings out pretty good. Yeah, I hope so. Should be fun. We just got to figure out the artwork and figure out the name of it. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to release the Taking Chances one is pretty close to being done. I'm just going to add a couple of little backup vocal things here, which wasn't in that recording that we played, but it's the same, pretty much going to sound the same with just a few little backup, gang vocal type stuff, just to fill it in a little bit for the chorus. And I'll probably, actually, that should be pretty close, so I'll probably release that one as well this week, along with the other two videos. So should be a nice full week of video releases. And then after that, I think hopefully the basement video will be up. I'm going to focus on that. And then we've got like I've said, the beginning guitar lessons. I'm going to start recording those this week as well. And I got a couple other things written, just other tips and thing on playing in live bands and what little tricks, not tricks, but just things I've noticed over the years from playing. And when you first start playing, you think you don't think about it, and then later on you play for a while and you go, oh, and you don't think to mention it, but yeah, cool. What else is there? Is there another one? There is another. I do have, if I can play the chords. Don't really have the full the lyrics completely worked out yet, but the melody's there. And it's just it's a 12/8 kind of thing, TeleDyner. Yeah. Um, it depends. Sometimes I'll come up with a lyric. Sometimes they'll come together at the same time. That's what happens a lot. Is that I'll hear a usually a melody in my head, and then a lyric will follow soon after, or possibly come up with some generic melody that might follow a cool lyric that I want to add. Um, and make and then come up with maybe work on the melody a little bit and just kind of refine it. But then just play around with it, and then once I have the full melody, then I'll add chords to it, and there's no real right or way to write a song. It's just whatever hits you first, and you go in that direction, and then come back to it and tinker with it. And I find that if I spend more than 2 3 hours max trying to write a song, you end up just second guessing everything you do, and you end up with nothing. So it's best to just go with your gut feeling. Look, try to make try to make a solid decision, whatever you're doing, and just say, nope, that's what I'm doing. And because it's easy to say, well, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this, or this, or this. And the more complicated the song, like that one I just played, I mean, that one's got quite a few changes in it. It took me a little while to refine exactly what I wanted to do. So I always let the melody be my guide. If the melody is going in a direction I don't like, I don't care what the chord progression is doing. I'd rather mm, I'll alter the chord progression to fit the melody, which is really what you should do anyway, and make sure that it's flowing nicely and it feels like my goal is always to try to make it sound like it was always there. It always the music always existed. Um, especially in a progression and everything. It just makes I don't know. I heard that quote from somebody. I forget who, but um, so that's a nice idea. Just try to make it sound like it's naturally and flowing. You're not forcing it. The minute you sound like you're trying to force something rhythmically or musically into something that just it's not working. Um, don't do it. And sometimes you can get in your own head and you're not thinking about it, and it sounds good to you in the moment, and then you just put it aside, come back to it the next day or so, and if you still like it, then you probably got something that's worth continuing with, I think. But and then of course show it, have other people listen to it, see what they think, and the other band members, and you know I take other people's feedback seriously, not just I'm interested in what somebody else wants to has to say about it, because if I can make the song better in some way, shape, or form from someone's opinion, especially in the band, then I'm gonna listen to that, because that's only thing that can possibly do is make it better, not worse. Try not to. I don't want to let ego get in the way of any of that. Oh, we don't really have egos in the band anyway, so that's neither here nor there. We all have a pretty good relationship with each other as far as that goes. That never comes into play. Life's too short for that stuff. Yeah, you do. You get a good feeling when you're on the right when you're on the right track. You know you're on the right track when you have a good feeling. Well, all right. So Let's see. We've been going for almost 2 hours now. I think, yeah. I'll have to be careful. Last stream I did, I ended with sleepwalk, and then I didn't even think about it. And the next day, I got I got a copyright claim on the stream. I was like, oh, not a big deal, but it's just like, oh, you played it. It recognized it. Anyway, I'm glad you guys could come and hang out. I'm gonna shut this down here in a minute, and I'm gonna get to recording the next videos. Um, yeah, probably. Yeah, not a marathon, not as much this time. But yeah, maybe next week if I have some beers, it'll probably go a little bit longer. But yeah, I'm gonna get to recording the next couple of videos, and um, yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, hopefully I'll have it done. I'll at least have the basic stuff recorded today, and then we'll have the rest of it there. All right, I'll have the rest of it up this week, and yeah, let's see what else I can kind of uh, carry it out with. Um, hmm. Ah, guitar wasn't on. Cool. All right. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you next week. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and of course, I'm sure you'll see I'll have the videos posted, and it'll notify you when they come up. And I'll hopefully see you guys next week. And until then, peace. See you guys later.